Let's get into the news, shall we? Our top story this morning, COVID. Let's talk about COVID, shall we? Make no mistake about it. The media has a job to do, don't they? Can anybody name the media's number one job? Anyone in the chat? Can you guys name the media's number one job?
I'm gonna guess that it's to inform the public.
No, it's to scare the crap out of you. The media's number one job is to scare the crap out of you. That is how the media makes its money. That's how they've always made their money. If it bleeds, it leads. You know, let me tell you a little story. I was once fired from a job in Philadelphia at a Fox affiliate in Philadelphia. Not fired, but I was. They didn't renew my contract because the new news director that came to work there, Phil was his name. They had hired me to make the show fun, and they wanted a fun morning show, so that's why they hired me. Well, 2 days after I was hired by this news director, she was fired. So then I had no support, right? Then they bring in this new news director, and he wants all murder. Like, that's all he wants. Like, the first 5 stories of the news show, that's all he wants. It's like crime. He's like, if it bleeds, it leads. We got. And so I just was like, I don't want to do this, man. Like, how are we helping people? What are we doing? This is horrible. And then they didn't renew my contract. We didn't exactly see eye to eye. But guess what? You know, that's how they build ratings, right? That's how you build ratings, by scaring people, unfortunately. And there's been a modest increase. We've seen these numbers, a modest increase in COVID cases out in California, Los Angeles specifically. And we have the CDC director basically saying we have a pandemic right now of the unvaccinated. The unvaccinated is the pandemic now. And in order to deal with this right now, the Los Angeles area, the Los Angeles health directors and so forth have now put up mask mandate signs everywhere. Please wear masks. They're basically saying we're going to lean on vaccines. We're going to say, look, we cannot go through what we went through before with past virus surges. So Los Angeles County has decided to put in an indoor mask mandate. Okay, so when you go, if you're anyone who's watching this morning from LA, let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys are dealing with in Los Angeles. So, but this, of course, doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because what they're saying is that a mask mandate, according to the CDC, is in violation of CDC guidance. So, right? I mean, look, if you're fully vaccinated, then the CDC says you don't have to wear a mask anywhere you go indoors. You don't. So you're going to put up these signs. Now you're mandating that people wear masks as they go indoors. But that's what the CDC says, that's our new policy. You don't have to do that. So, you know, side note on all of this, like, I genuinely feel like if you're not vaccinated, it's your choice. It's totally your choice. It's a life choice you've explicitly made, right? And that's fine. It is your choice, right? I mean, it's nobody else's choice. You're taking your health in your hands and your choice, right? The same thing if you want to drink every night and smoke every day and drink and eat fatty chips or whatever. Like, it's your choice. No one can force a vaccine on you.
It is our choice, and the thing is, like, there's so much information and so much news around adverse effects. Like, it's adverse effects for more people than is being talked about. Like, the mainstream media is not talking about all of the people, and we're talking a lot of people that are dealing with it. So it's like there are people that are actually informed on why they don't want to take it, but it's been so politicized that if you don't take it, you're a Trump supporter,
right?
When it's actually people are doing their due diligence and feeling, and there are people that can't take it. There are legitimately people that the doctors are telling them you should not take this, and if you're under 20, you should not take it.
But and the argument against the Trump people, I'm going to get to that in a second. But like, I'm not talking, and frankly, it's up to you. Like, it's up to you to take your own health in your hands. Like, it's totally up to you. And you know, it's like, you know, hey, you don't want to wear seatbelts? Like, I tried to convince my dad for so many years, like, Dad, put on your seatbelt. You know, you just, okay. He's okay. He just always would forget, you know, and he was, you know, he died of whatever causes, you know, and 86 years old. But it's his choice, you know. And are we going to have the government telling us what we can and can't do? And so there's been this media narrative, and we'll get to that in a second, about it's all Trump supporters. It's all Trump supporters, right, that aren't getting vaccinated. But we'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk about the unvaccinated, or the fully vaccinated people here for a second. Because it's like, in some ways, now we're catering to the unvaccinated in all of this. Like, what we're saying is, like, you went out and got a vaccine because of what the science was presenting. You felt that was you wanted to protect your body. You wanted to protect your health. You wanted to protect your family. You wanted to protect your community. You didn't want your kids getting COVID, then the school has to get shut down because you were the idiot parent that didn't. Like, I have a friend in Israel, and he's like, I, didn't really want to get it. He's like, but I've got 30 families that I would have been the social pariah if I was the one that didn't get it. And then my son brings it to the kindergarten, and then the whole school is shut down. Then they have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and I'm the social pariah, right? So he made a choice, right? Everyone's got a choice to make. So you get the vaccine, and now you're telling those people that they have to wear a mask indoors, or that they are having to go back into lockdown. So the people that got a vaccine, in order to protect their health, in order to protect their community, or in order to protect their family, now they're being told by these governments that they can't, so we're sort of catering to the people that haven't gotten the vaccine, which makes no sense in all of this. And you're going to take away the rights of these vaccinated Americans? Because I'm telling you what's going to happen. You know what's happening. I see it. I was in the mainstream media for 20 years. I see it as clear as day. All you need to do is go to these mainstream media websites. You can see it on the lead story on the nightly news, the broadcast nightly news with Lester Holt and all those guys. It's all about this. And it's fear drives the narrative, right? We're thinking about shutting down travel to the UK again. We're thinking about going back into lockdown. We're thinking about going door to door in order to get people vaccinated, et cetera. And it's all driven by this media narrative that it's like from the left, that it's Trump supporters, right? That it's just Trump supporters, Republicans who don't want to, rich white people that don't want to get vaccinated, or it's just Trump supporters out there.
Well, and that's the thing. It's been so politicized that if you don't take it, people are saying you're stupid, and all this other stuff. But it's like, a lot of these people aren't looking outside the mainstream narrative. You have to look outside of the mainstream narrative in everything.
And that's what we're going to talk about on this show.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to talk about this morning. And that's the point. There's a whole narrative that's being spun, and frankly, it's garbage. Really. So forget the Trump supporters for a moment. If you want to actually look at the vaccinations and the actual hospitalizations, it's actually pretty stunning here. I'm going to put this up on the screen here. But in all of this, there's been plenty of lies being spread about the mainstream media about who's been vaccinated, not vaccinated. And CNN and MSNBC have been would have you believe that it's all Trump supporters, or it's crazy libertarians. Get off my land, crazy libertarians or something. That's simply not the case. In fact, unfortunately, this is the truth. It's black Americans. And it's actually white Republicans, both. So if you look at the data on your screen, so CNN can sort of sit here and spin yarns about Trump all they want. This chart actually tracks very closely with income scale as well. So if you're in a low income community, you're also less likely to get vaccinated. Black Americans are the population that has at least the least likely, up until July 6th of this data, least likely to have gotten a COVID vaccine. So why has the CNN not reported this? Because it doesn't track with their narrative that it's all Trump supporters, right? It's all, but it's not. So forget Trump supporters for a moment. It's black Americans. It's also poor Americans who are saying, screw you to the vaccine. And I got to say, I hear you and I understand you, because you've been screwed over by America for so long. You've been denied medical care. You've been pushed to the side when you've had rich white Americans getting tax breaks. And this, to me, is the real story in all of this that the mainstream media is not telling you. They want to tell you it's just Trump supporters, crazy Trump supporters out there. And it's not. It's a cross-section of America who are distrustful of their government that has basically lied to them and walked on them for generations.
Well, and the science, there's been scientists talking about this from the very beginning. And the thing is, like, those voices have been silenced on YouTube. I personally had a video taken down where I was talking about something that was backed by scientists, like over 200 peer-reviewed 200 scientists with peer-reviewed information and everything, and it was just silenced. So there's been just all this stuff around this the whole time that we aren't being told. And so when they're hiding that kind of information, you have to ask yourself why. Why are they hiding that information? So and it all boils down to The money for the pharmaceutical, the lobbyists for the pharmaceutical industry is what it all boils down to.
And money at the media level. Because CNN to go on the air and say, you know what? Black America, to put up this chart on CNN, it will never happen. For them to say, look, Asian Americans are the ones getting the vaccine the most. Whites are second in line. And you know what? Black Americans track at the bottom for getting the vaccine. Guess what? Is it possible that Black Americans don't trust their government? They've spent years being lied to by their government. And they've spent years being denied health care and any kind of care by their government. And now suddenly their government's like, hey, go get a vaccine because we need to protect everyone. Go get a vaccine. I'm like, whoa. Okay, wait a second. Can I think about this? And so actually the data shows that white Republicans are the ones who are saying, absolutely not, I'm not getting the vaccine. And Black Americans are saying, can I think about it? That doesn't mean they're not getting it. They're saying, whoa, wait a second. Can I think about it? So when you peel this back a little bit, doesn't it sound right? Doesn't it make sense? Well, that they would be distrustful? I'm
definitely no Trump supporter. I'm an independent. I don't choose any of these parties, and I'm not getting it. You know, like there was an article I was reading yesterday that was saying like upwards of 25,000 people have died and upwards of 1 million have had very bad adverse effects, like really bad adverse effects, like can't use their hands anymore, all kinds of stuff. And where's that information? Where is that news?
Oh, it's not being talked about.
It doesn't fit the narrative.
No, it's not being talked about.
If you bring that kind of stuff up, if you try to talk about facts, people are like, nope. Fauci said it's good.
And, you know, we can point out that the data shows that the people that are now, I mean, this is clear in the most recent data that I was able to pull, that those people that are getting sick, almost none of the hospitalizations, I think literally none of the deaths have been among those people who are vaccinated, something like 99%. So you're talking about a small group of people, but it's still, if that number is true, and it's that large as 25,000. And I think people who are fully vaccinated who died, I believe most of them were extremely likely they were on the elderly spectrum. They were much older, and they were already immunocompromised when they died. That is according to the most recent data. But then it's up to you to say, you know what, I'd like to be able to use my hands. And so I'm choosing not to do this. So that's my choice. It's my health. And so David is taking it upon himself to say, okay, I got to ask you, though, I'm just going to ask you as a friend, like, do you feel like you would feel better? I mean, are you worried about getting it? Like, are you worried about getting the virus? And do you think like, oh my God, I might be kicking myself later that I didn't get the vaccine?
No, and if I do, I'll kick myself anyway. But I don't even leave my house. I go to the grocery store. I go to the gas station. Like, I don't go anywhere. You know, maybe if I lived in the city, I'd be a little bit more worried. But I mean, I've not been worried from the very beginning. And the thing is, like, I just feel like like some of the data, I don't even know that I trust where we're getting a lot of this data, because the person who even designed the way that the tests are being done is like, this isn't the right test to test this kind of thing. Like when Elon Musk went to the doctor, got the same test 4 times, showed positive twice and negative twice. So it's like, right. So how many people had false positives or false negative or whatever? Like the information has been skewed from the very beginning. So, you know, and the thing is, like I said, people get so invested in an outcome that if there are facts and there's more information, they don't want to hear it. They don't care, because their government, the people that they love, the people that they admire on the news channels and everything have said, no, it's safe. Everything's safe. And then they're like, yeah, but you know what? 600,000 people have died. So these 25 to 45,000 people that have died from the shot, they're just collateral damage. We don't care about them. You know, that's how we have to. The only way to get a cure, the only way to fix this is if we kill 45,000, injure 1 million people. You know, they're just collateral damage, but it's going to help the population. It's what we got to do, everybody. But tell that to somebody who has a kid that's 12 years old that lost all of their functions, that they can't function anymore, and will never, maybe possibly again, they're just collateral damage. Just go tell them that.
Well, and you won't see them talking about it. I mean, you barely get them talking about it on mainstream media, scratching the surface on asking a simple question about, for like Senator Rand Paul, who said, look, he said he had COVID. And he said, look, I've had it. And now I feel like I'm inoculated against it. I'm immunized against it. I'm not getting the vaccine, he says. And, like the governor of New Jersey, Patrick Murphy, was asked that question. It's like, well, look, we've had family members who've gotten sick from COVID, and we've encouraged them to go get the vaccine because you don't know if you can also get it. We don't have enough data on it. Whether or not, by just having had COVID, you are now protected against it. Okay. What about these booster shots? How much can these pharmaceutical companies rake in on these booster shots? All I'm saying is we need to have a deeper discussion about the people, first of all, the people that are vaccinated, okay? And then these lockdowns. I'm more concerned about what it does to our children to go through another round of lockdowns over something that we don't have. Now we know that a vaccine exists. We have the vaccine available. We don't want to have these lockdowns again where schools are shut back down again, so our kids can't go to school. It absolutely is hampering an entire generation of children by keeping them home. We know the data on that. Now we have a vaccine available. And if people don't want to get vaccinated, then that's on them. Like, that's up to them. And, I see someone in the chat saying, yeah, but we eradicated polio because people got vaccinated. And when people decided not to take the vaccine against polio starts to trickle back, and then the same thing with smallpox, et cetera. So,
but also look how long it took them to create the polio vaccine. How much research they did before launching it out to the public. That process was cut, way in half.
Right.
With this.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. Weigh in the comments below. Where do you guys come down on this issue? Is the mainstream media fear-mongering? Or is it legitimate concern? And are you fearful that we're going to be heading into another lockdown? Drop me a comment below.